Alright, what you see here is a Relite industrial ceiling fan. I got this out of the Sterling Gym in Sterling, Mass with Nathan last year, better known on YouTube as Epsilon 120. And there was 4 of these. This is the second one out of 4 that I pulled from there, along with a TPI industrial and a Marley industrial. I got the latter two, well, the latter one, more so just because it was $10, but all of the fans were $10. I figured, why not? So, yeah. The reason why they were getting rid of the fans is not because they didn't work no more or anything. It's just they were using the pandemic as a way to replace them without having to close down for a few days. So they replaced all the fans with 2 large industrial, like the huge ones, like the big ass fan company ones. I don't think they're the exact ones, but something similar to them. Now, there are pictures of these fans online still, and the original install of these 4 of them, and the other 2 fans that replaced them. If you go on Facebook and look up Sterling Gym, Mass, they have like their own Facebook page. There are pictures of the fans that replaced them installed as well, so they have opened up since, which I'm glad. But yeah, I got these not because not only because they're Relights and a lot of people like these, but not only me, I loved Relite fans as their childhood, the Airmaster type ones, but these ones aren't labeled Airmaster, and they're also are completely white, as you can see, not with the aqua greenish looking motor with the vanilla tannish looking canopies. Now, I have no clue how old these are, but from what I've been told by John Lumax, I think that's how you pronounce his last name. And if I'm butchering your last name, I do apologize. I'm not. I'm good with first names. It's always last names I mess up on. But from what he has said, that these were often sold in Venezuela, which explains why the tag on them are all in Spanish. Well, more so the ones underneath the motor. However, these are still in English, which I find interesting. Now, this one seems to be in pretty good shape. I feel like this is the second best one out of the 4 of them. I'm just trying to see where I can find it. Oh, there it is. Because, now originally I thought maybe they could have been from the 70s for the serial number that the first one had, but in fact, you know what? I'm going to turn on this light right here just to kind of get a better shot at it. As you can see, it's not the same number as the other one. It is 413038. And that's not the same serial number as the first one. So interestingly enough, they all have a different serial number. I think, actually no, I think 2 of them had the same serial number and the other 2 have completely different ones. But yeah, back to the condition on this one. This one does have a little bit of scuffings right here and such. And the down run's a bit more worn on this one. Now the blades, I'm not sure if they went to this exact fan as they did have the original blades installed on them when I bought the fans. Nathan was just there with me. However, I did not keep them together, obviously. Obviously they've gotten mixed up since, which is unfortunate. I wish I had like a Sharpie on me at the time, that way I could have like labeled which ones they went to, so that could have kept them with the exact fan, but it's not a big deal. Now this one's blades I haven't really tampered with. The first one I tested, those blades were kind of bent out of alignment to the point where I had to adjust them. This one only had one that was a little bit bent upwards, so I just bent that one back downwards a bit. Just the same as the other 3. Not the other 3, as the other 2. So they don't point as upwards as you see some other ones in other videos, but since that's how they appear to have came, I figured I'd just leave them like that, not bent them upwards like the other relights you tend to see. So yeah, I am using a Casablanca 4-speed wall control to test it. So let me go ahead and start off on the low speed. It's funny because I got these last year, unexpectedly. What me and Nathan were doing was we were driving around picking up fans. I was driving around with him. We picked up the Hampton Bay Colorway 2, And I think something else he picked up. But yeah, I figured we adjust when we were in the area, somewhat close by. I figured let's see if there's anything in this like close by in that area that we wouldn't show up on Marketplace in our local area due to the distance, and came across these. And they had just been listed like not that long ago when I saw it, so I was like, I immediately messaged them, and 30 minutes later I ended up buying them from them. Now, originally there definitely was 6 of them. I'm guessing that 2 of them failed over the years, one of them getting replaced by the TPI around 2008, 2009, and the second one around 2012-ish, 2013 by the Marley Industrial. Now, the one thing I find so interesting is it's like a gym it's kind of more like an aerobics gym, if anything, not like a workout gym like for fitness. I mean, obviously it's for fitness, but like an exercise, like a weightlifting gym, if you get what I mean. And it looked like it had like a lot of bouncing houses stuff. They were like bouncing slides, like inflatable slides that, like those air slides that they have like at a lot of places. Best way to put it, it kind of looks somewhat similar to like a like Sky Zone, which I know some people recognize or if you haven't heard of one, you might have heard of them. Or if you haven't been to one, you might have heard of one. You've seen something like that inside the gym, from what I've seen pictures of online. And with these having such short down rods, I'm honestly surprised that. I mean, I'm kind of surprised. I'm also not surprised that the blades aren't really bent or beat up. Unless the 2 that got replaced, maybe that's what happened to them. They got bent badly, so they had to replace them. I'm not sure, but yeah, it's just I feel like that these might have survived mostly because they had shorter down runs instead of the longer ones, because the blades are super flimsy on them. So yeah, and the funny thing is, the Marley one has bent blades, and the TPI one's a bit more scuffed. It's funny because the newer fans are more beat up than the 4 older ones, so I find that a bit interesting. Despite these being the cheaper ones made ones out of them, they definitely do seem to perform the best. But yeah, the bearings on them are in pretty good shape. This one and the first one definitely have the best bearings out of 4 of them. The third one I haven't gotten around to testing it yet, but that one seems to have good bearings as well. Though the fourth one I noticed has a little bit of noisy bearings to it. Alright, now let me go ahead and move it up to medium. Now it's still going to wobble a little bit. It's not perfectly balanced, but I'm maybe not trying to mess it up that much by bending them so much. I mean, these fans are known for wobbling, even just if one of the blades is a tiny bit bent and such, so I'd rather just leave it as is. I don't know what that sound. Oh, that was my dog. Of course, when I had him on the other side, but it might have been something else. But no, it definitely has a good medium speed to it. I do notice that one of the blades was a little bit bent on this one, so that's probably what's causing it to wobble around a bit like this. And it stinks because these fans do have a really cool design to them, because they're very poorly made. The blades especially, but the motors sometimes do have a tendency to have bad windings over time, or they start to get burnt. But I feel like it also depends how often they get used as well. I've seen plenty of them out in public that have been used a lot and they still run fine. Like the ones at the high school I went to and work at, the bearings and those, or the 3 of them that remain, they're still in pretty good shape. And those get used all year long for the most part, even in winter, just to move the heat down and such. So I know, and they're always running straight on high speed, so I feel like it's more so like the ones that are like in auto shops, stuff like that. Those are the ones that get more beat up, or in like warehouse environments. Which is not surprising, because a lot of fans there usually get worn out badly, so yeah. Let me go ahead and move it up to medium high. Yeah, originally I was thinking about selling two of them and keeping two of them for myself, but at this point, honestly, like I feel like it's better just to keep them. Like I wouldn't mind letting people borrow them if they're local and such, or bringing one out to somebody. Like if I went to Fanimation or like to Meadow Pizza, something like that, I wouldn't mind bringing one of them to test there. But I just can't see myself like selling it and then like not regretting it later on and such. Especially if there's four of them, I can always get like three of them to make an install and have like a fourth one like in a workshop type area. Like if I had a garage or like a basement, I can have like three of them installed and have like a fourth one in like a shop portion of it, if you get what I mean. Because that one's a more beat up one, I wouldn't mind using that one more. And it has a bit of a wobble to it. This is about as fast as the ones that the Sam will seem to go. But now there's only three relights, but two of them are only hooked up. They all are controlled off of the same controller, so there's also that. And unfortunately, we tossed the one that was above the price area because they had to put those divider things in the way. But from what I've been told, one of the blades got badly bent while they were doing that, so which is why they had to get rid of it. Because I mean, they could have probably bent it back, but it must have got bent badly as they were putting the cages up. Somebody must have hit it and bent it to the point where it was impossible to bend it back, where it would not wobble so much. So yeah. But yeah, no, when they're running right, these fans definitely have a good high speed to them. I mean, good air movement to them. Yeah, here's high. On the high spec, I can definitely say they probably go about the same speed as like a KDK on high. Performance-wise, they're similar, but they're not as powerful as a KDK. I've tested many of them to be able to like compare it with this, so that's what I'm going off of. Unless I'm getting around to testing more industrials, since it's warm out, I figure it's the best time to test them. I've heard like Metal Pete a few times say they're comparable to Goldline, but not exactly like Goldline. So since that's basically the most powerful industrial I've had a lot of experience with, I figured that's be the best way to compare them. You know, it definitely goes fast without a question. I feel like the first one might go just a tiny bit faster. But it's been a few weeks since I've tested that one. As I was away in the Dominican. But yeah, definitely it's a good air mover. Alright, now to shut off and do spin down. It's funny though because at the Sam Windows arcade, not the Midway, the arcade, they had four of them in the normal Air Master coloration that a lot of people see. The aqua greenish or the tan vanilla looking canopies. And I found four all white ones, so it's kind of like a coincidence. I found four of them, four of them from my childhood and from the arcade install, and I ended up finding four all white ones. So it's almost like I can recreate it just with all white ones. Though I would need to steal a canopy from one that's still in decent shape and paint it white to swap out the cut one on the fourth one I got of these. Something I always found interesting is that at the same window as back when they still had all 5 Airmasters minus except for I mean, they had 5 of them, but one of them was the Encon Airmaster type, the Compton Grease looking one. And I always found it interesting that, like, looking at back now, like, it would have been interesting if they had a white Relite like this in replacement of the one that failed there and such. Ended up getting replaced by the one that's there and such. Would have been kind of cool to see, like, how there's 4 of the colored looking Relites, Airmasters, and an all white Relite in place of one that stops working or something. At this point, like, I would love to get the other Relites, but I really don't see that happening. If I was to get any of those Airmasters, I'd love to try to get the Ancon Compton Grease looking one, because that one is just one that you don't really see often. Like, if I had a choice of which one I can get first, I would try to get that one. But they don't seem to be interested in getting rid of them at the moment, but hopefully that changes. But yeah, and that'll be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and stay tuned for more videos to come.